Thank you for joining us on Motorsport Minute. My name is Mitchell Breuer. It was a great weekend of racing at Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. Let's get into all of the action. We begin on Sunday when qualifying was rained out. Tyler Reddick on the pole. Early trouble for Josh Berry and Ty Gibbs, who get tangled together and see their days end quickly. The calamity would continue in stage one, this time with a bigger crash, starting with Austin Dillon, Riley Herbst, Ricky Stenhouse getting significant damage as well in this wreck. Jumping to stage two, and it's Kyle Busch who goes for a spin into the inside wall on the backstretch, ending his day. From one champion to another, this time it would be Kyle Larson who would see his day end at the end of stage two after a block on Shane Van Gisbergen would go wrong. The most recent champion would finish 32nd. 32 laps to go now, and it's the big one. Contact between Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano would send Hamlin spinning and collecting a number of cars behind him, including Daytona 500 champion Tyler Reddick, who would suffer heavy damage, and that should end his day, right? Wrong. Even with the damage, Reddick's number 45 was still among the fastest in the field, and he would be able to work his way back to the front and win back-to-back races, including Sunday's race at Atlanta. Team owner Michael Jordan celebrating.
A lot of hard work in the off season. It's awesome. It's paid off 2 weeks in a row at two very hard to win races. You know, it's funny. This time around, it was not looking great. About 40 or 50 laps to go. And yeah, we just found a way to fix the damage and yeah, just kind of push through it.
Moving on to the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series now, and the question all week was who can top the king of the hill, Austin Hill, who has been so dominant at these drafting tracks. To the surprise of no one, it was Hill out front late Saturday and leading with 1 lap to go. But he was in quite the battle with Ross Chastain, and this time it would not end well for the driver of the number 21, who was spun after trying to block Chastain. But it was not Chastain that capitalized. Instead, it was Sheldon Creed, who had a record 15 times, finishing second without a win, capturing his first NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series win. Here's what he had to say after the race on Saturday.
Been 4 years of trying, 137 starts, 15 second place finishes. Yeah, wears on you because you win a truck championship and win 8 truck races and have a shot at winning truck races every week, and then go Xfinity racing and kind of expect yourself to succeed right away. And yeah, obviously had a lot of good runs, but just never finished it off, never won. So to finally do that and kind of looked like another second or third place run there coming off a 2, and yeah, just it all worked out for us tonight.
Now, we mentioned earlier that rain canceled Cup Series qualifying. This actually had an effect on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race as well on Saturday. Their race was delayed by about an hour due to weather, and since Saturday was a doubleheader, the race turned into a timed event in order for NASCAR to meet the necessary TV windows. When the clock hit 0, the next lap was named the final lap, and it was Kyle Busch having a much better day than he did in the Cup race out front, with Carson Hocevar pushing him to the win for his 68th win in the series, the most of any driver.
Yeah, definitely different than normal, but our guys did the calculations to convert it for us, so it sort of made it the same for me from behind the wheel. They took the time and figured out how many laps, and they were giving me the countdown: 5 to go, 3 to go, 2 to go, and then they weren't real sure because they hadn't heard the same countdown from NASCAR, and then we were going into 1, they said 1 to go, or coming back for the white, so they were right on the money there. But yeah, great job by everybody at Spire Motorsports. Appreciate Brian and his attention to detail and the things that he's all about, and then appreciate HendrickCars.com as well too for making that Silverado look real pretty and even better in victory lane.
Now, this weekend, all three series will be back in action, but while Cup and O'Reilly go to Texas to the Circuit of Americas, the trucks will be actually heading back to Florida for a race at the street course in St. Petersburg, where they'll join the NTT INDYCAR series, who will kick off their their season this weekend. Here to tell us more about that and preview the year ahead in the INDYCAR series is Vice President of Competition Communications, Dave Hurst.
So obviously, season starts this weekend. What can fans look forward to this season with the IndyCar series?
Well, the beauty about IndyCar racing is that sometimes we really don't know what to expect until it happens. Our friends at Fox love to call it the fastest racing on earth. A lot of unpredictability, if you will, certainly begins here on the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida. If you've never watched racing here in St. Pete, there's an area in turn one. It comes off the runway here, and sometimes it's huge. They can go 3, 4, 5 wide, which is great racing, but it all funnels down into really 1 or 2 lanes, maybe in the turn number 1. So if you've got a driver that really wants to take a chance, try to make up a lot of ground, you get a lot of chaos in there in turn 1 and turn 2 and turn 3. But what to expect? I mean, I don't know. Right now, the question is who can knock off Alex Palou. I mean, he has been red hot last year, right? Of course, he's a former champion here in St. Pete, a 4-time champion, 3 of the last 4 in the ATT IndyCar Series championships as well. So we'll see what Alex Palou got. We're here right in front of Chip Ganassi Racing Hospitality, and their goal is to celebrate Sunday night here in this hospitality unit.
You mentioned Alex Palou, who, in my opinion, has really established himself as one of the best race car drivers, not just in IndyCar, but I think in the entire world. What does it mean to have someone like that in the sport currently?
Well, I tell you what, it's amazing. He's only been in the sport for basically 5 seasons, and he's already won 4 championships. Think about it this way: there are only 2 drivers in the 100-plus year history of IndyCar racing that have more championships than Alex Palou, and it's one of them is some guy by the name of AJ Foyt, who's a legend, right, in racing, and Scott Dixon, who is still racing and just happens to be a teammate with Alex Palou, who has 6 championships. So really, Alex Palou has reached rarefied air, and I dare say he's still on the rise when it comes to IndyCar racing. I don't know who's going to touch him now. That said, everybody else in this paddock area knows they've got to up their game here in 2026 if they want to knock off Palou in this run he's in. There are a lot of very talented drivers that can do it, but they got to do it quickly. I think race 1 will be key for those drivers.
And you bring that up with the competition side of things. What other storylines? I know there's been a lot of movement, some new faces in the garage. What other storylines can the fans look forward to on the competition side of things?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. Team Penske really needs a resurgence. I think obviously they've got Joseph Newgarden, who is back, Scotty McLaughlin, who is a former champion. In fact, both those guys have won here already in their careers on the streets of St. Pete. But they've got a young guy who's back in the number 12 now. It's his first year with Team Penske, and David Malukas. He's a young and upcoming driver, very good on the ovals, but he's yet to really prove himself on street circuits and road courses. So we'll see what David Malukas can do. But really, I think all eyes should be on the driver that Malukas is replacing at Team Penske. I'm talking about Will Power, who after a long, illustrious career at Team Penske has changed things up and is now racing for Andretti Global. So he is the all-time pole winner for career poles in NTT IndyCar Series history with 71. He's a 45-time race winner as well. And all of a sudden, he goes to a new team, and he's got a little chip on his shoulder right now. He wants to prove to Team Penske that maybe they should have kept him around a little bit longer. So keep an eye out on Will Power, a really good rookie class that also involves the name Schumacher. You know about Michael Schumacher, right? The legendary Formula One driver. This is his son, Mick. It's going to be really interesting to see what Mick can do in his first year.
And obviously, you're in St. Petersburg for the season opener. Looking at the schedule as a whole, couple of things that jump out to me, and I'm sure everybody else that looks at the schedule with the street course race around AT&T Stadium in Arlington
Yeah.
and recently announced street course in Washington, D.C. Just how exciting is this for the series to have these unique venues added to the schedule this year?
Yeah, we've got brand new venues, and that's not only it. I mean, we're going to leave here in St. Pete coming up on Sunday, and the series heads back to Phoenix Raceway, which they just had an open test there, and guy by the name of Alexander Rossi, who another driver I think is looking for a big resurgence in his career. He led testing last week, so we've got Phoenix. Then you go to the streets of Arlington, Texas. You mentioned that. We go to Markham, Ontario. It's a brand new venue about 20 minutes north of Toronto. So a lot of people up in Ontario are excited about that. And you mentioned the street course race in Washington, D.C. So this is a big surge of adrenaline for the IndyCar series, going into brand new markets with a lot of brand new fans that will be able to watch IndyCar racing for the first time. And I'm a little biased, but this series puts on a pretty good show. So I think we're going to make a lot of new fans here in 2026.
And lastly, you bring up the Phoenix race next weekend.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a collaboration of sorts with IndyCar and NASCAR this season. And there's always this like stigma of like, my series is better than your series. It's really cool when you get these series together and kind of working together to put these weekends together that are great shows for the fans. What does that mean to you guys?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened, right? You go back during COVID times when Brickyard 400 was happening, and they also raced with IndyCar as well in those fall races. So that's not new, but it is cool to see NASCAR embrace IndyCar. IndyCar is embracing NASCAR, and I think next weekend is going to be a great example of that. Ticket sales are huge on that Saturday. That's going to involve not only the NTT IndyCar series, but also the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. That's the step below for the NASCAR Cup series. So it's going to be a great weekend, and it's going to be great to see a lot of old faces and familiar faces too on the NASCAR side. So it's going to be one big homecoming, and we can't wait to get Phoenix Raceway next weekend.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see the race this weekend at St. Petersburg, as well as all the other races on Fox 47 this year. And best of luck this season. And thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, great to be on Fox. It's going to be a great season. Mitchell, thanks for having us.
Now, how about this, race fans? This weekend, we've got 4 races on the KTTC family of networks. Action kicks off Saturday with the trucks at St. Petersburg on Fox 47. That race begins at 11 a.m. We move over to COTA later in the day for the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series on the CW. Action for that race kicks off at 2 p.m. On to Sunday, you can flip your TV on to Fox 47 and you can just go ahead and leave it there. Racing all day, beginning with the NTT IndyCar Series at 11 a.m. The NASCAR Cup Series follows them again on Fox 47. Their race at COTA, IndyCar at St. Petersburg Cup, set to begin at 2:30 p.m. A lot of racing to look forward to this weekend. With that, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Mitchell Breuer. This has been Motorsport Minute.